Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and we are focusing in a little bit more in depth on a narcissistic defense mechanism called blame shifting. It is also known as projection. When a narcissist is not capable of taking ownership for feelings of insecurity, ineffectiveness, feelings of imperfection, or what really the narcissist feels is not their true mask, the narcissist will engage in projection techniques. They will engage in blame shifting. And you can see this really as a red flag when really they really don't take accountability, fall on their sword, or really ever find that anything is ever their fault. They're not willing to apologize. They're not willing to accommodate. They're not willing to change. Things might be brought up or brought to their attention that are key indicators of the syndrome or the disorder or disease of narcissistic personality disorder. And that is largely a pathological sense of self-absorption, self-importance, entitlement, grandiosity, grandiose thinking, talk, and behavior, but largely at the expense of others. And largely things are really focused in on their gain versus really collaboration or being interwoven with other people. Being able to be kind of like a true team player where they're able to give other people the floor, give other people their say, let other people speak up and make contributions and take credit for things. Or do they want to take the credit away all for themselves? Do they want to assign blame and use projection and pathological lies to others because of a pathological envy that they have of others, and basically use that to undermine you, sabotage you, and cut you, hit you where it hurts underneath the knees so that you cannot be of equal status, of equal voice, of equal relevance, and basically meant to feel ground down or unimportant or targeted and really pinpointed for the defense mechanism of projection. And now the projection and the blame shifting means, again, that they're putting everything, all the burden on you. All the problems are on another person. So they're going to blame the family. They're going to blame you. They're going to blame the company. And yes, there might be some issues that need to be, that have been contributed on the part of the company, the family, or the individual, but there needs to be that ownership on both sides, because really any sort of personal growth is being able to be resilient and to be adaptable and be willing to and able to change according to situations as your life takes different turns, as you have different turning points in your life. You might realize, this is no longer working. I can change. I can adapt. This is hurtful to others. This is hurtful to me. I'm now going to change this. And so the narcissist is always going to pinpoint and target the blame, issues, and problems on another. They're always going to say that they are disappointed, that that there was something about you that was not quote unquote good enough. But you know what? They're going to go through people and they're going to find the same issues again and again and again. They're largely fault finders. So they can find the flaws, the imperfections, the problems in anything and almost anything. So if you are around somebody who is constantly blame shifting, trying to point the finger at you or others, or make excessive amount of complaining and insults and control and manipulation of others by this negative force, guilt, obligation, and fear, then realize that this person is using a lot of defense mechanisms in order to protect themselves from being present, from being able to have empathy and really connect with and give credit to others and see the positivity with others. Because remember, in order to not feel envy and jealousy, you have to be secure within yourself. You have to own your own strengths. You have to know thyself. You have to know your strengths, your abilities, your talents, what you do well, what your strengths are, and that what you bring to the table. Whether it's something simple as positivity, or the ability to listen, or the ability to have an open heart and to work on things and be solution oriented. These are all strengths that you have, but they're going to get shrouded over by a narcissist. They're not going to be validated in you. They're not going to be brought to the light. You're not going to get acknowledged and really sort of applauded or validated in this way, because then it would mean that the narcissist would quote unquote love you or adore you or admire you or give it up to you that you have some good quality. And they don't like to admit that. They don't like to give those sort of compliments, because it means that you possess something of goodness, of power or empowerment, and this is perceived as a threat. Anyone who really has certain qualities or certain traits or personality temperaments or qualities in your life that you might live by. In fact, you might be very good and a loyal lover. You might be a person of high integrity, high ethics. You might be very caring for your children. You might be very caring for your assets, your belongings. And you might have this real commitment, high integrity base, where you don't cheat, you don't go through the infidelity, you don't prostitute yourself, you don't need to parade around like that. Yet the narcissist basically doesn't have that same integrity. They don't have that same loyalty. They might have, be very undisciplined in their thoughts, their emotions, or their behaviors, and they're not able to really commit in relationships the way it's required. They just don't have the ability. They freak out. They go on porn, cheating, etc. The pathological lying, the blame shifting. And so generally they're going to, say that they're disappointed, that they're unhappy, and they're going to find a flaw on you to take the focus off of them, that they could be part of the issue, part of the problem. They're not going to want to ever admit it. They're not going to ever want to fess up. They're not going to own up to it. They don't like to have a chink in the facade. They don't like to, have an error or an error in the flaw, what they're showing to the world. And even though really it's that vulnerability that really is part of personal growth. So, you should not have to be ashamed to ask questions. You shouldn't have to be ashamed to be sick. You shouldn't have to be ashamed to have a hair out of place. People are not perfect. They put an inordinate amount of energy and stress in trying to be and appear perfect. But, oftentimes that is not the case. And then the narcissist standards, which keep getting raised more and more and more, basically you need to be this, you need to be that. And then they're holding the measuring stick up to you. And it's just, it's unattainable. And so you feel like a defeat. You feel like a failure. You feel this burden and heaviness because you feel like, well, there might be something wrong with me. And, you internalize it, and then you have this feeling of being inherently flawed because of all the blame shifting and projection that has been done by a narcissist who doesn't want to take ownership and work on this themselves and have those boundaries. Because someone who is secure, they're going to have energetic boundaries in the things that they do, say, and just how they interact with people. They're not going to project. They're not going to overcompensate for this insecurity. They're not going to yell, criticize, target you, blame shift. Healthy individuals are able to maintain a healthy energetic boundary, which means they know how they have the emotional intelligence. They know how to be courteous. They know how to be kind. They know how to have unconditional love. They know how to accept you for who you are and bring out the best within you, rather than trying to basically, fault you and make you feel like there's everything is wrong with you, when in essence they're using a blame shift onto those individuals in their environment who are particularly vulnerable, sensitive, loving, and affectionate. Because oftentimes these are the qualities the narcissist really doesn't have to give, so they have an envy for others who possess these qualities, especially in abundance, and they want to snuff that out. Because once again, you prove as a threat to them, because they're not able to exist in that good life, in that feel-good sort of way. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.